Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with yours truly, Tom Alvarez. My guest on today's episode is Jenni White, founding executive director of Trinity Haven. It's an organization that serves LGBT homeless youth. She is also highly regarded in Indy as a theater actor director. Join me now as I go on the aisle for a conversation with Jenni. Welcome to my podcast, Jenni. It's a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it so much.
It seems like the last few years, every time I saw you, I said, well, you got to come on my podcast, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And we always swear that we're going to do it. And then, since it's the 1st of January, we're still, by the way, Happy New Year. By the time
yes, Happy New Year.
It'll be probably a few weeks after this recording, but it'll probably still be early in the new year, so
sure.
It's still appropriate. What is the stop date when you quit saying Happy New Year?
You know, I was wondering about that earlier today because I was putting it in emails, and I thought, well, tomorrow's the 9th. Maybe by next week I'll just stop. But I don't know if there's an actual protocol out there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in any case, since it was the beginning of the new year, I actually put together a list because doing a podcast or show like this weekly, it's content. It never ends.
Right.
It never ends.
You're so good at finding it, too.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been around a long time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And so I've met a lot of people, fortunately. And, since I cover the arts, I must say over time it's gotten easier just because I have a long list of people that I've come into contact with, like yourself.
Yeah.
And since I cover music, theater, and dance, it's much larger than, say, just a general kind of entertainment,
right?
Critic or whatever. But my encounters with you have mostly been I've been in the audience, on the aisle, and I've seen you as an actor.
Yeah.
But there's so many other facets to Jenni White's life, so I'd like to get to know you and talk about all of the things that are happening in your life. But let's start with your, give me and our listeners sort of a brief sketch of who you are, where you came from, and all the above.
Sure. Well, I'm born and raised here in Indiana. My parents still live in the house where I was raised in Logansport. So very small town.
Where is that?
North of Indianapolis, about an hour and a half. It's very near Peru, Indiana, which is very famous for the circus. And so
Cole Porter.
Yes, several things, of course. And so I was born in Kokomo, which is close to Logansport. And but I was raised in Logansport, and my parents still live there. So I went to Logansport High School, and then I did my undergraduate degree here in Indianapolis at the University of Indianapolis on the South Side.
Okay.
And I got a degree in theater and a minor in business administration.
Now, I'm sure he may have been an instructor, or you knew Jim Rain?
I did. Jim was the technical director there while I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And has he since retired?
He has, yes, a few years ago.
Well, I don't know if you were aware, but I was the managing director of the Eddie Repertory Theater when we moved.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh.
To try to save the theater. Unfortunately, we didn't stay long, but I have fond memories of Randsburg Auditorium.
Oh, Randsburg.
And it was Jim Rain who made all that possible.
He is amazing.
Eddie Repertory Theater was a very respected, renowned at the time community theater, and it operated at Christian Theological Seminary, which no longer exists. It's at Butler, And in any case, so I got to know U of I pretty well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Did you get a good education there?
I did. I had a wonderful education there. I was there for a 4-year program. At the time, the theater department was very small. My freshman year, we only had 6 majors. And over the course of that year, there was one production that they had planned for the year, Romeo and Juliet, and it was too big. It was too many people, and there weren't enough of us as students that came out for the show, and so we canceled the show and turned one of the rehearsal halls in the basement into what is now the studio theater.
Oh,
And
a
so
black box?
a black box theater
Wow.
did never exist before that year. This was 1993, 1994. And so because unfortunately we couldn't do a full production of Romeo and Juliet, we ended up doing a studio theater, or created a studio theater and did vignettes and smaller scenes and just put together something for that slot of the year. So it was really, and it's still thriving today. The studio is pretty incredible.
Yeah, so they built out the theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
How
in
many did
addition
it
to
seat?
Ransburg, right, the big Ransburg Theater, down directly underneath it, downstairs, is the studio, and it seats maybe 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's real intimate. It's real intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I in my undergrad, I performed and did a conservatory kind of training with the Indiana Purdue University in Fort Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
similar to Black Box, and you're right, it was very special.
Yeah, it really was.
And so, all right, so what happened after graduation? What year was that when you graduated?
I graduated in 1997, and I moved to Evansville, Indiana, the southern tip of the state. You could see Kentucky from the river, and I lived there for 7 years. I worked in a couple of different arts organizations, performing arts. I did arts administration and started performing in the local kind of community theaters there. And then I got my master's degree from the University of Evansville in public service administration. And that, because I had always worked in addition to arts organizations, they were all nonprofit organizations. And that need for service, to be of service to others, was very deep within my soul. And so serving in nonprofit organizations became sort of the other trajectory of my life, in addition to performing and being an actor.
Why did you choose not to concentrate on the art, like say theater?
Well, a couple
career,
reasons. A
yeah.
couple reasons. One was I fell in love, and chose to stay in that committed relationship, and that meant staying in Indiana, and felt that especially in Evansville at the time, but even moving back to Indianapolis, we had started a family at that point, and it was just really challenging to think about how I could do gig to gig and to survive on that financially while having a very young family. Mm-hmm. And I never really, aside from maybe a year or two wanting to, move to New York and give it a go, right? It was one of those things that I knew that I could still enjoy for probably my entire life, and not have the added stress of this also has to pay my bills.
Sure.
Right?
You're practically minded, though.
Yeah, yes, very much so, very much so. So finding opportunities to not only pay my bills, but have a meaningful career in the nonprofit work, and then being able to choose the performances that I wanted to be a part of, the productions I wanted to be a part of, and spend my time accordingly so that I could still enjoy it.
And so you have children.
I have one child, yes.
And how old is your child?
My child is 22.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're 22. Their name is Z, and they are here in Indianapolis. They are a pastry chef. So if you ever find yourself over at Cleo's Bodega on the on the west side, right in front of Flanner House Community Center,
Yeah.
they make all of the pastries and cookies and cakes in
And
there.
may I have a name?
Their name is Z. They go by Z.
Z.
Yes,
Okay.
the letter Z.
Okay.
They're also the lead singer of a punk metal, kind of heavy metal punk rock band.
Right.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Goose Flesh.
Okay. And where do they work in a shop or where do they practice their craft?
Well, they do their baking at Cleo's Bodega, so that's one of their, culinary arts. And then the lead singer of this punk band, they record, they rehearse and record here in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of shows down at the Healer, which is an all ages club on the south side. And they have a Spotify channel too, so you can look them up.
Well, I have to ask at this juncture because there's still a lot of people who either don't know, don't understand why pronouns are used these days. And it's important. So explain that, why we're there.
Sure. Pronouns are simply an expression of who we are and how we identify ourselves. There are folks who are cisgender, that means they identify with the gender that they were assigned at birth, and that's typically male or female. And so you have she or he, right? She, her, or he, him. And then there are lots of people in our world who don't feel that they really fit into either one of those genders. They're not always feeling male or masculine, and they're not always feeling female or feminine. And so they sometimes choose to use a different pronoun. Sometimes that's they, them. Sometimes there are variations of pronouns and then there's a list of them available, of course, on the internet. I don't have all of them memorized because there are so many, actually. But utilizing they, them for some people is, as I mentioned, some folks who don't feel masculine or feminine, or sometimes they feel like both, right? And it's not about what their body looks like from the outside, but it's about how they feel on the inside and wanting those things to be in alignment.
Do you know the history of this? In fact, where it originated, and was there a person, a group? What was it?
Oh gosh, I don't think that I do. If there is an actual history or one singular person that created this or where it all began, I don't know that.
And of course, it's controversial for all kinds of reasons. A lot of it's related to homophobia. A lot of it's related to politics.
Of course.
Blah, blah, blah. For a lot of people, it's just like, oh my God, it's so much trouble. Why? Why can't we just keep things simple? Whatever happened to whatever? So what's your response to that?
My response to that is the world and all of us are ever evolving and ever changing. Yeah. If we were exactly the same as we were 500 years ago, you and I wouldn't be sitting across from each other with these microphones in our faces because those things didn't exist. And so while technology evolves and changes, so does the human body, so does the human condition, and so do how we articulate those things. And so, and most people in the world are given a name at birth, and many people choose to be called by something else. Right? My given name was Jennifer.
Correct.
There are only a few people who call me that.
Yeah.
Lots of people call me Jenny.
Yeah.
A couple people call me Jen. And I realize that that's a nickname because I chose to keep the name that I was given. Yeah. But there are lots and lots of examples of that when people go by a different name, right? Your name might be Robert and you go by Bob. I mean, like, again, a shortened nickname or version, but you may choose to go by your middle name. You may choose to go by a name that someone gave you in out of love, right? It was, again, nickname, but something that you chose to then to take on for yourself.
Gotcha.
And so however someone introduces themselves to me is what I want to honor and treat them with the respect that I hope they will treat me. And use the name that they've given me, and use that in accordance to how I address them. And same thing with their pronouns.
And how does your Z, how does she deal with people who disrespect that or don't honor that?
Well, my child Z uses all pronouns in various stages of their life. Sometimes in their band life, they use one pronoun. In their personal with certain friends, they use a different pronoun. In the doctor's offices, they use a different pronoun. And I've asked them multiple times, how does that fit for you? What do you want me to use? And they said, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And so they, I think, are less confrontational about that. And they have chosen to share those things with people when makes sense, right?
Well, this is important for us to talk about this because of what we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
But let's stay with, and that would be Trinity Haven, and we'll get into that. That's one of the big reasons I wanted you on the show. I have great admiration for your mission, and but let's go back to theater. Okay. So you consciously continued to perform because you had training and you love the theater.
Absolutely.
So have you been working steadily since graduation?
I really have, luckily. Yeah. I think there was a time where I was really focused on raising my kiddo, right? When they were an infant and probably up to 4 or 5 years old, it was really focusing on them, and I didn't do a lot of acting. I dipped my toe back in and started directing. Mostly because I could be in charge of the rehearsal schedule. And I could plan around when I knew my kid needed me and when things were happening in my family life. But my child was very much raised in dressing rooms and rehearsal rooms and was around that a lot. And so luckily I got to do that as a director. And then when my kid was older and could hang out for longer periods of time by themselves, they could come to rehearsal and, do their homework or watch a movie or do something. Then I could be an actor and be in the shows again. And so when I moved here...
Why did you come here?
Well, we moved back here in 2004 when my child was about 6 months old. Because my husband at the time had gotten a job here in Indianapolis. And so we moved from Evansville to here. Okay. I was not working because I was a new mom and wanted to focus on my kid. And I was finishing my master's degree from the University of Evansville. And so we moved here in the spring of 2004. Yes, that's true. In the spring of 2004, Z was only 6 months old. And I had 1 semester left to finish. And this was before we did everything on Zoom, right? This was before those days. This was a long time ago. But the university was able to make arrangements for me to get a lot of the lectures and things via some sort of computer situation, video or whatever. And I could do much of those classes virtually, and I only had to go back down to Evansville 3 or 4 times, and then I was able to graduate. So luckily, I could finish my master's degree with that last semester, even being this far away from Evansville.
I've never been to Evansville.
Oh.
Yeah, what is Evansville? How was your experience there?
Well,
I've heard wonderful things about it. And by the way, speaking of theater, they have a renowned theater there. That's where you got your master's degree?
Yes, but my master's was not in theater.
Correct.
Right, yes. I was around all those folks. It was really wonderful. Yes, the University of Evansville.
Many of them went on to Broadway. And
absolutely.
Big names,
yes,
right?
yes, for sure.
Not just actors, but
right,
all kinds of
right.
folks.
It's a really wonderful training program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
when I lived there 25 years ago, it was a very small town. It has grown up quite a lot, and it has quite a lot to offer.
Well, they've got a 69 exit now. So
yes, exactly. That highway did not exist back in the day.
Wow, that was a long track, wasn't it?
It was. It was a good 3.5 hours to get there.
goodness. Now,
you can get there in 2.5, depending on how you drive.
Okay. So, all right, go on.
So we moved here in 2004. Z was only 6 months old, so I spent a lot of time at home with them. And that's when I started to direct and to get back into.
For whom?
Sorry?
For whom?
For whom? Oh.
Where did you direct?
Where did I direct? I don't know if you remember the Theater Within.
Sure.
Okay, they were part of the Church Within,
of course,
which is down in Fountain Square.
Yeah.
They're no longer in existence. The church within is still there, but the theater within no
I
longer.
have to admit, I never saw a show there, but they still had a good reputation.
They sure did. They sure did. So I did several shows with them. They had changed their name to Theater Non Nobis, and I did several shows with them. I directed several productions of the Vagina Monologues to help raise money and awareness to end violence against women and girls.
Well, I'm sure that cast was filled with a lot of women I know, and I may have seen that production. Were there competing productions? I don't remember.
Yes, I mean, for a long time, that show was done kind of all over town. There was a university version, and then there was our version, and then there was one up on the north side. And so, I mean, like, we were all trying
there
to...
wasn't one production. All right.
Not necessarily, no. But I'll tell you, I have done that production, either been in it or directed it.
It's timeless, is it not?
28 times,
Wow.
Tom, in my career. Yeah.
It is timeless.
It
right?
is. It really is.
Yeah.
It really. I would say now, you know, it's been retired since 2020. I mean, you can still buy the rights and do it.
Do they let you revise it when you buy the rights?
No, it has to be done as written.
Okay.
When we were doing it, it was part of a global movement called V-Day, and it was an effort every February to launch these productions all over the world to help raise money and awareness to end violence against women and girls. So, in all of those productions that I've ever been a part of, we've raised over $100,000 in various places.
That's something to be proud of.
Yeah. Primarily here in Indianapolis, it was for Coburn Place because I worked there for 9 years. And then we did at least one production, maybe two, that benefited Trinity Haven, which we'll talk about soon.
Let me ask you this. Was Tracy
Horth Kruger.
Yes, Tracy was a fellow colleague of mine. We were at Channel 6.
Yeah, that's right.
She started her career as a reporter, for people who don't know who that is. So she was very involved in that organization. Was she one of the founders? I don't remember.
I think so. I think that's right.
She was covering the issue, though, long before anybody else on local TV, though. I know that.
Yeah, she wasn't on staff when I was there, but I know her very well.
And,
she did a lot of consulting with us.
She was also the board president of the Edivine. Because I worked with her, we needed a board president, and I approached her and asked her if she would do it. And
yeah,
she did,
she's fantastic.
Yeah, and then she went on to, I think that I'm sure, I'd like to think that experience helped her in arts administration.
Absolutely.
Become an administrator for for Coburn Place.
Yeah.
And it's still there.
Yes.
Same place on
38th Street.
Former school.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Renovated a school.
Okay, so so you developed quite a reputation here, and over the years I've seen quite a bit of your body of work. And so what has, from that time to the present, how many years has it been that you've been freelancing as an actor as well?
Well, I mean, I've been performing since I was 12 years old, but since I got back here to Indianapolis, it's been 22 years.
So you've been performing steadily and in theaters all over the city, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Drop some names of theaters.
Theaters that I have performed with. The Theater Within. Wisdom Tooth Players or Playhouse. They're not in existence anymore.
They were at the Fringe.
That's
Theater.
right. Callie Burkhartz and Ron Johnstone and...
What is her name? She moved to New York.
You're right.
I'm blanking.
Me too. I feel terrible.
She's an incredible actor.
She really is. Amy.
Yes. She's part of the singing family.
That's right.
Singing family.
That's right. We know it's right on the tip of my tongue. Oh gosh, I'll look back on this. We will.
It's a well-known name. I mean,
yeah.
They were a group.
Absolutely.
Christian music.
I know. It was there. Yes. But anyway, yes.
We're Facebook friends, but I haven't been in touch for a while. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
and then
folks.
Buck Creek Playhouse.
Yes.
Let's see. Indy Fringe. I was in the Fringe Festival the first year that it started, and I've done a handful over the years. And then the Phoenix Theater. I was lucky enough to be in a few productions there.
Did you work with Brian?
I did work with Brian in one of the last productions we did in the old Phoenix.
What was the show?
Barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we got the new space, and I've been in I don't know, 3 or 4 productions there, I think. And now I work with, I'll work anywhere, really. But American Lives Theater is my kind of home company.
Yes,
Yeah.
And we have to give a shout out to the great Chris Saunders.
Absolutely. Chris is, I think, an artistic genius, and one of my closest friends, and I'm grateful that he has welcomed me into the group. I've been able to direct for them now. And
what makes him an artistic genius?
He has extensive training. He's been to New York. He's been all over. But he really has a way of seeing these productions from just a unique perspective.
Well,
and
he's an actor's actor.
Absolutely. He's done the work.
He knows how to treat actors.
Yes,
and how to get the best out
he's
of
been an actor, and so being able to say that I know what this feels like in my bones, and then asking someone to do that is help.
A good collaborator. He's not a my way or the highway kind of guy.
Correct. I've worked with a lot of directors over the years who, and ever since they became a director, they've never gone back to acting, and so they're very removed from what that feels like. And while that's fine, there are a lot of people who are only directors, a lot of people who are only actors, but I love it when you can have done both and then can speak the language of both of those things. And that's how I work, and so maybe that's why I'm more drawn to Chris and his work as well, because he's done both of those things as well. Yeah.
And his and what do you think of his knowledge of the canon itself, the theater canon, the works that he chooses?
I have been
and his theme,
Yeah.
What explain for those who don't know what his theme is, or the American Lives, the whole title of his organization.
American Lives Theater, and I'm not going to get the mission correct because I don't have it memorized. I should pull it up on the website, but you can do that at home. American Lives Theater really chooses to do primarily new work that
stuff that's been off Broadway maybe 2-3 years ago.
Correct.
Much like Brian Fonseca did for years.
That's right. Bringing a lot of things to Indiana or Indianapolis for the first time, so a lot of premiere work.
A lot of edgy stuff.
Yep.
Contemporary.
Mostly contemporary, and that shines light on what it's like to be alive in America.
A lot of issue-oriented stuff.
Correct.
Immigration.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
All the stuff we deal with on a day-to-day basis. We're not afraid to talk about it on stage.
Not commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We're not the theater company that's going to do a big, musical or number. There might be music that's within a show that we do, but we're not going to produce Annie.
Well, when I referenced him as an actor's director, I'm an actor myself.
Yeah.
It's mostly commercial, but I love the fact that I noticed early on that his pieces attract actors, the best actors want to work there because of the mission, but also because of the work.
Yep.
It's serious work. And they're often coupled with the kind of people that I'm sure you experience. I've always wanted to work with this person. Here we are.
Absolutely.
We're becoming friends.
Yeah.
You get that too, right?
It's so exciting.
The networking.
Absolutely. Every show I've been a part of, I've gotten to meet new people that I've always admired, and then now I get to call them friends because we've been able to do these things together.
Having been in that world, I can say that that's just the part of what makes it so exciting and unique to be an actor, when you're working with people who inspire you and you feed off of each other and they make you better.
Absolutely.
Would you say that that's happening?
I agree. I agree with that completely, and I hope that I'm able to provide that to my fellow friends and colleagues as well. I mean, the journey of the production, starts with the script that you have in your hand all the way to getting it on stage in front of an audience, and all of those steps in between are that journey. Yeah. I keep using that word, but that's my favorite part.
I bet you've been through this, and I've been through it. Anybody's been on stage, that addiction part where you can't wait to get to a rehearsal because you've worked on something at home. You can't wait to join your colleagues and try it out.
Absolutely.
You can't beat that.
No. It's that's the creative process, right? I mean, putting it on for an audience is fantastic, and you have a good time. But like the process of getting there is the art that we are creating. As performance artists, as actors. You can talk to a painter and say, "Gosh, look at that painting! I painted that. That's great." Well, how long did it take you? Where did it come from? What are all of those? What did every stroke mean to you? And some people can tell you all about that. I am not a painter, and so I can't talk about that, but I can talk about the rehearsal process and how much like every fine note that I get from a director or something I'm watching other actors do or is just added to the toolbox that I get to keep using over the course of my career. It's very exciting.
Well, something we share in common is that, I am a gay man and, I have been existing openly in the gay world for a very long time. And that means that, when I finally was able to come out, I found my tribe.
Yeah.
And, but I have several tribes. I have layers of my identity, and I'm sure you do too.
Of course.
I'm sure that you've been active in your own way in the women's movement. And then you're an artist, so you've got that group. Isn't that fun?
It is. It's so much fun. Absolutely.
Of your identity, if you will. I don't believe there's one single identity.
No, there can't be.
Yeah, and they all inform you, right?
Absolutely.
And how do you identify as a she?
Yes.
Okay. So in your experience, what does it mean to you to be a lesbian woman?
What does it mean? Gosh. Well, I'm grateful that I have lived the life that I've lived and been able to have the experience that I've had to bring me to this point, married to my wife now we've been married 8 years. We've been together for 10.
And that would be
Eve Keller. Yes, Eve Keller. She and I are now, and I don't know if you know this part, Tom, she and I are the co-owners of the new franchise of the Sports Bra, which is a women's sports bar.
Really?
Yes. We are bringing the sports, we don't have a location yet. We just bought the franchise.
I love that.
And we are bringing the original Sports Bra was in Portland, Oregon. They just opened the franchising rights. It's called the Sports Bra. Isn't that fantastic? But it's a family-friendly restaurant and bar that will exclusively play women's sports.
I love that.
It's very exciting. And so we are looking for a location downtown Indianapolis. So if anybody has any bright ideas about that, let us know.
It will be open to all peoples?
It will be open to everyone.
To men.
Everyone watches women's sports,
well,
right?
Now they do.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, gosh, Caitlin Clark has brought the whole and so many other amazing players, right? Yeah. But like this week, I mean, I know this is going to air in a month or so, but like we're promoting all of womennes sports, right? We have watch parties for softball and volleyball, and the Fever will start playing again soon, and so it's very exciting about that. But we are selling T-shirts and stickers, and we're trying to get people really excited about this so that we can bring this to Indianapolis.
It's think about this, Jenny. I've been saying on my podcast, during these troubling times, especially during these times, without getting into too much controversy. We're really here to talk positivity. But
sure.
A positive feature has been the idea that it's really only arts and sports where we can come together with people and not have to, engage about politics or controversy.
That's right.
We have something in common. And you don't know the politics of the people sitting next to you or cheering with you in a bar.
Exactly. Yes. It's about building community.
It's such a relief, But it's the arts and sports. And our temples are the theaters, the concert halls, and
the arenas. Yeah. That's exactly right.
I'm a big sports nut, and I came from a family of boys, and I really struggled, a lot of shame. I went through a lot of stuff. Not playing competitive sports, but at the age of 78, I have found an incredible group of gay men who have a Colts watching party.
Oh, how great! Yeah.
And for the longest time, my sister was gay, and I had 9 boys, but she could hold her own, of course. But we were raised in a big Notre Dame house and sports. And a lot of them played sports.
Right.
So I love sports because of that.
Yeah.
Even though I couldn't play them, I still loved sports as an activity.
Right.
And but it took me a while to find my tribe of gay men who love sports.
Right.
And we and I'm sure women have gone through that whole thing now. But the neat thing about all of this, and of course, about heated rivalry. Who doesn't?
Oh, of course. My goodness.
It's now reached. It's become a cultural phenomenon.
Ow.
It's now on. They're covering it now on Entertainment Tonight.
Right.
I mean, it's
It's
not
incredible.
just on social media. It's just
Yep.
like exploded. But you know what? One of those stars says, and I digress, everybody listening, but it's important. It's endemic of what we're talking about.
Sure.
Okay, so Hudson, one of the actors who plays the Canadian hockey player, the actor talked about how he's getting, he communicates with the author, the woman, I can't remember her name, who wrote the book, and she gets private messages from professional baseball, football, and hockey players who are in the closet.
Right.
I really think this could be like the turning point.
I hope so.
Where we
right.
but it's got to be a bunch of them at the same time, and it'd be such relief.
Really, to just live your authentic self and not let all of those things get in the way of that.
Yeah,
right.
And that sexuality isn't an issue.
Exactly. It's none of your business unless it's your business, and so let it be. It's not your business.
It's all about and then there's the whole idea that. And it goes on both sides. There are small minds on both sides. Even the gay community who are critical of actors who are straight, who get gay roles.
Right.
And I understand that.
Sure.
But in this case, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They're really good actors.
They really are, and let's tell the story.
And
right.
the script writing is just incredible.
It's so good.
So
Yeah.
it's great that you. I didn't know this about you. You're this sports thing.
We are. Really, my wife is driving that, right? And so this is she.
Is she an athlete?
No, I mean we both were in middle school and high school.
Yeah, what were your sports?
Let's see, softball, volleyball. I did something else. She played both of us played basketball. I think at one point she played football. So yeah, I mean like just all over the place, I guess. I went more arts and all of that after high school, and which is great. But she really was watching women's sports and the movement really to make it equitable to what's happening in the sports world. And when the sports bra opened up their franchising rights, she jumped on that application.
I was not aware of this franchise.
Yeah, it's brand new. So there's only one right now in the whole nation, and it's in Portland, Oregon. We will be bringing one here to Indianapolis, and then there are also locations opening in Boston, St. Louis, and Las Vegas.
Have you made a formal announcement about this with the press?
Yeah. Eve was on the front page of the IBJ a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Darn it! I thought I was getting an exclusive.
Oh, darn. I'm so
well.
sorry. Well, you could have Eve on and she could tell you all much more about it. But we are looking for a location. We're still seeking, are we? Yes, I think we could say that. We're looking for investors, yes.
Okay.
But again, I don't have that pitch deck kind of memorized. That would be her time to shine. But since we're married, I had to sign on the dotted line too and say I'm a co-owner. So here we are.
Well, folks who are listening, if you've got some extra funds lying around and you're interested in this, how do they get a hold of you? We're going to get your Trinity Haven website, but
Okay.
How about Jenni White? Is there a way people can touch base with you about this particular?
About this particular thing, I would recommend. I mean, you can contact me, and I will put you in touch with Eve. Right?
Sure.
I mean, I'm on social media on Jenni White. I mean, I
find
can
you on social media.
put all of those things out there.
Yeah,
LinkedIn,
yeah.
all the socials.
Okay, so people can
Yeah.
find you through social media.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about Trinity Haven because I see you looking at your watch. Do you have a time issue?
No, someone was calling, and so I had to turn it off. I just hung up.
That's what you were doing.
Yeah, I hung up on somebody.
No, I thought. Anyway, I want to hear more. Okay, so I was at. I first heard about it in help remind me. Did you have like a public meeting to get the thing off the ground? Tell me the history, the genesis.
Yeah, sure. So Trinity Haven was created by folks at Trinity Episcopal Church.
What is it, first of all? What is
Trinity Haven is Indiana's only transitional housing and supportive service program specifically created for LGBTQ plus young people between the ages of 18 and 24. And we have a housing program and then offer supportive services to the people in the housing program. And it's for these young people who have been rejected by their families. They have experienced homelessness, or their families have said, you have got to get out when they come out or they're found out. And so we opened our doors in April of 2021. So this is our 5-year anniversary this year. But this all came to be through the good work of folks at Trinity Episcopal Church. And so while Trinity Haven carries the name Trinity in honor of the people who helped create us, we are not a faith-based organization. There are no religious requirements to be part of Trinity Haven, but we were created by people of faith who were trying to do right by these young people who were often rejected by their families because of their religion and the misinterpretation of the religious kind of guidelines that they follow.
And is it true that the Episcopal Church is well known for its attitudes, which are in fact liberal?
Absolutely,
Open-minded.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's part of their whole philosophy.
Correct. All people are welcome. We treat everyone with dignity and respect. And that God loves you, no exceptions. I am not. I was raised Catholic, but I have kind of find my own path.
You're kind of Catholic.
Right, exactly. Catholic light is what they say, I think.
Yes.
But no, the Episcopals are doing really good work, and the Trinity Episcopal Church in particular has helped incubate several nonprofits and then set them free to do good work in the community.
Shout outs you want to give to anybody in the church?
Well, particularly, she's now Bishop Julia Whitworth, who lives in Boston, Massachusetts. But she was here and the rector of Trinity Episcopal Church and helped get this started. And so we wouldn't be here without her and the kind of just wherewithal that she wanted to really make an effort to end homelessness for these young people specifically. And so folks at the church had an empty house on their property they were trying to figure out what to do with, and they met with several different nonprofits in town to say, hey, do you need space? Do you need housing? Do you need an office space? What do you want to do with this house? And that's when they learned about LGBTQ plus young people experiencing homelessness at rates much higher than the general population, primarily because of the religious beliefs of their families.
Tell me this before we go further. Did you so this didn't come out of IYG?
No, it did not.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Were they serving that community?
They are. Yes, they are. I mean, IYG is the longest standing. I would say it's not a community center. I don't want to.
Yes,
I don't want to just
exactly.
say that, right? But they have open hours where young people can come in. They serve people between the ages of 12 and 24. So I mean, they have a much larger age range because it's. Maybe a drop-in center is a better place to say, because people can drop in. You can come in and spend time in community.
I bet a lot of your clients have gone through their program.
Yes, yeah. I mean that we are actually our house that we own now is about 4 blocks away from IYG, and so some of our residents will walk up the street and go to their game night or go to one of their support groups or just go hang out on a night when more people are hanging out.
You guys are closely aligned.
Yes. I mean, we support the same population,
who's
of course.
The executive director over there?
Right now, it's Chris Paulson.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
Okay.
And so Trinity Haven was created as a housing program specifically. And so the support services that we offer are to the young people who are in our housing program because they are experiencing homelessness otherwise. And so that is our primary focus. And in the 5 years that we have been open, we have provided housing to close to 100 young people and helping them find their way towards independence and self-sufficiency. in addition to the house that we own, where there are 10 bedrooms and young people can stay for up to 2 years.
This is a house, a former mansion?
Well, it has it has 10 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms, and so it's in Mapleton Fall Creek neighborhood. And
we talked about you don't give out the address for security reasons.
Right.
So crazy people.
Exactly.
Much like the battered women's shelters like Cobra Place, there's a lot of security.
Right.
Although people know where that
I mean, Cobra Place has a big sign in the front yard. We do not have a sign in the front yard, so it's one of those, because people live there, we also work there. We want to keep it as safe as we can, right? But it's not a secret, but we just don't publicize the address, right?
Of course.
So 10 people can stay at a time. Because we have 10 bedrooms, everyone has their own private space. But then the residents really work together to create community together, to learn from each other, to learn with each other, and then go through the program that we offer and helping them learn how to adult, right? How to do the things that are going to help you along in your life. Sometimes it's how to make phone calls, because that's scary to some folks. It's truly.
Oh my.
But how to do laundry.
I am such a dinosaur, and it shocks me that young people have this understanding about phone calls, is that a lot of them, I'm generalizing here, think it's an imposition if you call somebody.
Right.
And they don't know the etiquette of a phone call.
Exactly. And so that's what I mean, like teaching someone how to make a phone call. Sometimes it's to a doctor's office. Sometimes it's to a...
It's intimidating for them to make a phone call,
Yeah.
especially if it's a professional.
Exactly. And so that you say, like, well, what do you mean how to make a phone call? That's what I mean, right?
When you're a young person, you're texting. You can text in text language.
Exactly.
You don't have to know English.
It's very different.
punctuation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we talk about all of those things like life skills and everything from cleaning and sanitizing to doing laundry. We have a chore schedule at the house because 10 people live there and they've got to keep that house in order.
Well, the big question is your selection process. That's got to be, how do you do it?
It's really challenging, isn't it? Yeah, we have quite an extensive waiting list because the program is 2 years long, and so if someone stays a full 2 years, that means someone is waiting.
How did you come to build this thing? Did you study a precedent of someone else who did this around the country?
Yes.
Or did you reinvent the wheel?
I did not reinvent any wheels here, I promise. The folks at Trinity Episcopal Church had a kind of group of volunteers that they put together to not only learn about who needed the program.
Due diligence.
Yes.
Yeah.
They looked up and researched. They researched several different organizations across the country that are doing this work specifically for this age group. So young people.
Did you go to these places yourself?
No, this was before I was hired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they laid the groundwork of figuring out what was best practices for young people in that age group and LGBTQ folks specifically, and learned that the research that exists and the handful of other organizations that are doing this work is that transitional housing, which is between 6 months and 24 months, right? So up to 2 years.
How did they come to that the whole 2-year thing? Why 2 years?
Well, again, that age group, right? Their brains aren't fully developed,
Gotcha.
so they need more time to learn the things. But each person also might need something different. There are several young people that have come to our program on their 18th birthday because they've been kicked out, right? And so when you're 18 and you've never lived anybody but at home, and your mom or somebody at home has always done your laundry, and like, I don't know how to do anything for myself, versus a 22-year-old who moves into our program who's done some things, seen some things, knows how to take care of those sort of basic stuff, but like that has now
peers.
So there's peer support that they offer each other, and then there's support that we offer in the way of the program. Yeah. We focus on education, we focus on employment, and then we focus on those we call them you and I would call them soft skills, right? But those life skills of like how to do things. We do. We have volunteers that come in, and we have yeah. We talk about budgeting. That's we talk about. We have a new kind of series of classes, kind of that are taught by a friend of the organization who's like teaching them basic like handyman stuff, right? Like how to fix stuff, a fix-it class. We have healthy relationships class that talks about everything from sex ed to keeping yourself clean and body cleanliness and
things too, like how to fight fairly and
sure,
things
sure.
like conflict
resolution, de-escalation, how to create community in where you are.
Do you have since you're an artist, do you have an arts program, or how do you fold that in, or do you?
It's more about learning from the young people in the program what they're interested in. But like every day of the week we have a different activity.
So you don't steer them to theater.
I don't, but when I hang out with them periodically and find out, oh, there's somebody who really likes to.
Shows
I have, yeah. Yep, I've taken them to the things that I've been in or that I've directed.
Do they get to go places where they can dance and things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, like this is the thing. We
They have their own dances.
They do their own thing, right? They
Cool.
literally just live with us and go through our program, but they are young adults and they're able to come and go as they please. We don't have a curfew.
That must be hard when they leave.
I mean, that's part of the but that's part of the program, right? Is helping them create community together with their peers, but then getting out of the house and finding those third spaces, those other places where they can connect to people.
I can only imagine like the homesickness that could occur. I'm an actor.
Well, sure.
One of the things I didn't like about acting is you develop a bond. And then the show closes.
And then you miss everybody.
So sad.
I know.
And we just move on. And,
right. And that happens in 6 weeks, right?
We'll have lunch and we'll be friends forever.
No, it doesn't often happen, does it?
It's just, I couldn't do it.
No.
Professionally, it would be too hard.
I talk about transitional housing the way that like as an example of for folks who are who have had the opportunity to go to college and stay in the dorms. Right?
Okay.
So if you stay there for a year or two, or even your whole, say a 4-year degree, and you're in the dorms, like you have a resident assistant or an RA who kind of helps guide, like if you have questions or I'm not sure how to use this laundry machine, can you help me? But for the most part, you're on your own. You're coming and going. You got your dorm room. You got a roommate, maybe, or you've got a cafeteria. You've got the things that you need, but you're also got a little bit of independence, right?
I have to ask you, again, drawing from my own experience, fortunately, I came from a Latino background, so there's a cultural kind of pushback but in that country, they don't have the same paradigm as we do. There's not a name for it. Now there is.
Mm-hmm.
But when I grew up, there wasn't such a thing as homosexuality.
Right.
They framed it differently because machismo was a big part of the culture.
Exactly.
So most of my family loved me, and they did not judge me, but they didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
And my mother loved me unconditionally. My father, on the other hand, he had big issues with it. It caused a real rift between us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We never bonded. Yeah, but my story is not unique, and it's not just people from my culture.
Sure.
Catholics, I'm also Catholic, and that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to ask you is that when I became an adult, I finally squared things with my father, and I forgave him because I realized then that he did the best he could.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I wonder about, thank God I wasn't told to leave my home and have that trauma.
Right.
Tell me, how much repair happens? Do you have families who reconnect?
We do.
If their kids have gone through this program.
Yeah.
It's helped them to reach out, or what? Well, tell me this.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if we've served 100 young people, we have 100 different stories. But I'll pull a couple out. Right.
Yeah.
The shortest residency that we had was 48 hours. Someone moved out of their home of origin, moved in with us, and within 48 hours moved back home, because the act of moving out was so shocking to their family that it was like stepping on a rake, right? And getting smacked in the face. And their family realized we didn't understand how much we were hurting you. And the fact that you've moved out and said you never want to see us again has made us realize how wrong we were. And they were that quick to make amends and want to work toward reunification that young person believed them and chose to move back in. Okay. And we heard from them several months later that things are going really well. Okay. And so sometimes those eruptions happen and then there's a quick repair. Yes. Sometimes there is a slow growth toward understanding and changing of ideas and opinions from family members who were closed-minded and want to learn to do better and know better. And so they've asked for those resources, and we show them like things like PFLAG and how to learn how to be a better parent to your LGBTQ young person. There are other organizations in town that have workshops specifically for.
So you work with families too.
I mean, we don't
Indirectly.
specifically, but indirectly, like we let the young people know,
Sure.
and we follow their lead. Are you interested in reunifying with your family members?
have,
And then we provide them the resources they need.
Therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists who assist you with the kids?
Yes, they're not on our staff,
Right.
but we have vetted several throughout the
You have
community.
resources
Yes.
that you-
Every young person in our program is asked to be in therapy.
Do they all do pro bono, or how does that work?
No, not all do pro bono. Several do sliding scales.
Gotcha.
And then the ones that do accept insurance, right? We help the young people navigate that when their insurances line up.
I'm
And so we
glad to hear there are positive outcomes. because
Absolutely.
I think, though, you've heard your share of traumatic stories.
Of course.
Traumatized, damaged, wounded.
Yep.
So many. I'm 78, but I still carry wounds from the shame,
Absolutely.
and the guilt, and
Yep.
all of the bad stuff. It's affected me as an adult. Fortunately, I've had a lot of therapy. That's why I
right.
asked that question.
Yes, of course,
I
of
wish
course.
I had had it when I was that age.
Right.
I had a place like Trinity where I could know that if things got really bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's I want to leave you with this thought. I pray for the day, and again, watch heated rivalry, because remember the scene where he finally comes out to his parents.
Oh,
and
wasn't
he
that
has
beautiful?
A panic attack.
Yeah.
His father walks in on Heap
Yep.
and his partner, and they share a kiss, and he doesn't know that his father is in the house watching from the kitchen, and when he sees his father, he has a panic attack.
Yeah.
And so he immediately jumps in the car and goes to see his parents. He
Right.
comes out, and he's waiting. He kind of is matter of fact. Of course, he's got his boyfriend there to
Right.
support him.
Right.
But then, his mother. What great acting!
Oh, gosh.
This is sort of the thing that everyone dreams of when they come out. You
Right.
just don't know, but that's why you don't. You stay in the closet.
Exactly, because
you
it's
don't
so
wanna be-
scary.
You don't want to be rejected by
Yes.
your family because you hear all these horror stories.
That's right.
And so, but what does the mother do later on to wrap this up? She basically takes him in her arms and she apologizes.
Right.
There wasn't a dry eye anywhere
No.
in this country, especially if you're gay.
Exactly.
If that didn't happen to you, fortunately, I had a mother who, was just very generous in making sure that she knew I was loved and accepted. She didn't
Absolutely.
care.
Right.
It just didn't matter.
Right.
But it just made me hope and pray that, things that what you're doing, that people have the resources where they can go to get through that period when they're rejected. And then many have a chosen family that
Exactly.
they have to find.
Yes.
But like me, I have both my family and the chosen family. But
Yes.
it doesn't work that way for everybody.
It doesn't, but that's something we're also trying to help teach, right? And or model for them and introduce these young people into those other communities where they can create that family of choice to supplement if their family of origin is not as supportive.
So what does it mean to you having this gig, this job?
What does it mean
How
to
has
me?
Has it changed your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't imagine doing anything else in this moment. And I've always said, I'm so grateful that I get to do this work every day.
It seems like
I just
everything
wish
you've
I
done
didn't have to.
Yeah, but it seems to me that everything that you have done in your career has led you to this moment. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
All the skills?
Yes,
Your
absolutely.
personal experience?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
There's-
Do you get really close to those to your do you have to keep a professional distance?
I mean, of course, right. Of course, we all stay as professional as we can. But also, if there's someone, I mean, I've always said, like, I will give you a hug if you need one, but you have to ask for it because I'm not gonna, there's no forcing yourself on anyone ever. Oh my gosh, consent,
yeah.
please. But I've said, I'm a really good hugger, and I also know that that's not for everyone.
Sure.
And just last week, someone was having a rough day, and I sat and talked with her for a little while, and at the end of the conversation, she just looked up at me and she said, "Can I have a hug?" And I was like, "Absolutely. Let's hug it out." And so I'm grateful that I get to be a part of that journey with them wherever they are.
Yeah,
some days are harder than others, you know?
You've had some moments of great with people when there are breakthroughs.
Absolutely. Oh,
And the
yeah.
light bulb comes
Yeah.
on for these people.
It's a beautiful thing.
Self-acceptance.
Yes. Yes. And to watch them grow.
Not take on the heavy burden of how the world feels about you.
Correct.
That you become confident in your own skin.
Mm-hmm. And how they relate to each other as peers has just turned on so many light bulbs for each of them.
How can people help you?
Oh, gosh. Well, we're always in need of financial support, not to get super political, but the current administration is not friendly to us in any way, shape, or form.
Of course not.
We had to turn down. We did not renew a federal grant this year. That was $130,000 in our budget.
That's a big hole.
That's a big hole that we need to fill. And so financial donations are always welcome. It's very secure and easy to do on our website, which is.
You become a fundraiser.
I've always,
Well,
always,
right.
always.
And I'm sure
Sure.
you enjoy it. I
Yeah.
love fundraising.
I mean, we it's all about relationships and helping people find
It's a
ways to
high
help
when
make
you
a
get those
difference.
big checks.
Yeah. TrinityHavenIndy.org. So again, it's TrinityHavenIndy.org.
So do you have individual? Do you have corporate? Do you have
Yes,
a
we
home
have. We now that we no longer have federal dollars, we do still have a diversified funding sources coming from individuals, corporations, private foundations, family foundations.
How about planned giving?
We do have a handful of folks who have let us know that we are mentioned in their planned giving. We would like to increase that number of folks who are interested in doing that.
Are you interested in building an endowment?
Yes, we absolutely are. We do have some monies that are in sort of a investment portfolio. We'd love to add to that. We do have an endowment. I mean, I wouldn't call it an endowment, but we do have a fund at CICF that people could donate to if they don't choose to donate directly to us.
Do you have a good board of directors?
We do. We have 18 seats. I think 16 are filled right now. And so we will be recruiting new board members come this spring. And it's a really, really amazing group of people to help do this work.
I presume it's well developed, that you have professionals from various areas that you need, like attorneys, accountants.
We actually have done a really interesting thing at Trinity Haven of creating a board that is specifically representative of the people that we serve. Not that it's full of young people, but that it is, I think, 90 to 95% LGBTQ plus. And at least half of the people on our board have never served on a board before. And so really helping them learn more about nonprofit service.
How about diversity, racial diversity?
Yes, very much. Yes, racial, all of that. I think our youngest board member is 26, 27, and our oldest is probably in their 60s.
Is it diverse as well racially?
Yes, yes, very much so. Over 60% of the young people we've served are transgender or non-binary, and I don't know that I have the racial breakdown memorized, but yes, absolutely.
Well, give us the website once again. Do you have a donate button on that?
We
page?
do. It's bright and shiny in the top right-hand corner. Again, www.trinityhavenindy.org.
Do you have any fundraisers coming up that people should keep an eye on?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's our 5-year anniversary this year. So coming up in April, we'll be celebrating that kind of birthday. We'll have a big birthday party in our front yard, actually. By invitation only. We can't publicize that one. So if you are interested in getting connected to us, get on our website and sign up for our newsletter. Then you can potentially get that invitation. We will have a drag bingo event this year. We haven't nailed down the date yet, but drag bingo is a good time for anybody 21 and older. We have a skate fever event that is family friendly and free. So families can come and skate and have a great time, learn more about Trinity Haven and just have some fun. That usually happens in July. And then our primary fundraiser is called Homecoming, and it's a gala of sorts. And this year will be on September 19th at the Crane Bay Event Center downtown.
Wow. Well, listen, this has been an absolute joy.
Same, Tom. Thank you.
I've got to know you more.
Yes.
And boy, what a great mission. and I'm so grateful that you are now, that you are in this serving in Central Indiana. Is it all of Central Indiana, your residents?
No, actually, they come from the entire state. We serve everyone in the state of Indiana.
So it's a statewide organization.
Yes. Must be a resident of Indiana to be eligible for our program.
Okay, well, for anybody listening to this, you know where to find this group, and please support them with all of your talent, treasure, and time.
Absolutely, right? Yes. Volunteer, donate, make this part of your everyday. Pay attention to what's going on. So thanks so much.
I hope to see you in the future. Certainly on the aisle. You have anything coming up that we should be aware of?
I do. I'm in American Lives Theater's production of Fatherland, and it runs the last 2 weekends of April, the first weekend of May, and it will be at the IF Theater, formerly the Indy Fringe Theater, downtown.
That's new, really?
Yeah, they've renamed it the IF Theater. Yeah, because it's the Indy Fringe Festival.
Okay.
And so the IF Theater has been reborn.
Well, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
come see me in Fatherland.
All right. You'll see me on the aisle there.
I can't wait.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
So much. Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official newsletter for 15 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community. Thank you for joining me on the aisle. Please subscribe to my podcast, and if you want to hear previous episodes, find them on the All Indiana Podcast Network, or listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. This is Tom Alvarez.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.